Oh, it sounds so good. Good morning. Hope you're doing well. I'm quite well myself. So, Instagram is dead. Instagram is dead or dying, depending on when you're watching this. I mean, it's basically dead. How do I know this? Well, I mean, look, I've had an account for over 10 years now, and I grew my own personal brand in my business originally through Instagram. And you've probably seen it over the last few years, especially this year. The engagement and the general sense of motion on Instagram has collapsed for a lot of creators that were basing their business on traditional metrics on IG. So, likes, engagement, comments, shares, follows, saves, all this stuff. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't post something and still get feedback on it, or something can't still go viral. But what it means is that the old system of using Instagram as a tool for influencers to push products and to build a business off of popularity alone is pretty much dead, in my opinion. And I think, first of all, because the social media era was something that we didn't necessarily know we were stepping into. When from my generation, I'm the generation of Facebook. When I got my Facebook account, you had to have a university email address to even have a Facebook account, and that ushered us into the social media era. MySpace, all of that, without even knowing that we were stepping into this new era. And so now we're looking back on the social media era and we're saying, okay, all social media platforms have a lifespan or a life cycle. We didn't know that was going to be the case going into it, but it clearly is the case. We're looking now at the end of Instagram's life cycle, because now I can post something, and I just tested this. I can post something that last year or 2 years ago got 50,000 likes, 50,000 views, and it'll get like 2,000. I just posted this actually. I reposted a short piece of an essay I wrote about my grandmother. And the reason was because I know that the stuff that gets engagement on social media platforms is vulnerable stuff. This is a really vulnerable piece. And I'm like, okay, I want to see how this does. It flatlined. The same piece of content, nothing changed, it flatlined. Same thing with the videos that I'll post. I used to be able to post a video and get tens of thousands of views. Now I'll get like 1,000. If I get 2,000 views, I feel like it's lucky. And of course, if you pay attention to Adam Mosseri, who's the CEO of Instagram, he'll say, "Oh, well, you got to do this now. You got to do carousels. It's all about the shares per reach and all this different stuff." And so it's this system that we're playing with to try to essentially create the same impact organically that we could create before. We're trying to uh, manufacture the same type of impact that we had before with the platform, by doing all these new and different and creative things, when at the end of the day, it's supposed to be the content that speaks for itself. So the platform is dying. Creators aren't getting the same reach anymore. In fact, I know people who are now paying to get the same reach that their stuff used to get organically, which is just, I'm sure that's exactly what Instagram wants, but it's the sad state of the platform. And you know what, though? I think this is a good thing. I think this is a good thing because what it's doing is it's leveling the playing field completely. I mean, obviously, if you have an account with hundreds of thousands or millions of followers, I have 200,000 followers on my account, and my posts are not doing well. If you have millions of followers, your posts will be doing better than mine, probably, but it will be proportionally lower compared to what it could have been in the past. And I think this is a good thing because what it's doing is it's eliminating a lot of the popularity factor of Instagram. It's eliminating the metric of views or likes or comments even as a metric of what a successful creator looks like, and what really works on IG. And what it's doing is it's highlighting the fact that it's much more important to be very specific about who you are speaking to with your messaging. I've known this for years, but I've still chased the popularity game. But the truth is, it's much better to have 5 people, 10 people who really love and respect your work and become customers, long-term customers, than it is to have 1,000 or 10,000 people who just will engage with your work on a surface level, never buy anything from you, and not really care about what you have to say. It doesn't mean that the only value in people following you is from a consumer perspective. They don't all have to be customers. But in terms of you running a business on Instagram, we've been so focused and so dialed in to optimize for likes, views, shares, comments that we've forgotten that from a business perspective, it's about conversion. Dan Kennedy, the crotchety, cranky old marketer that we all know and love, has ranted on about this, about social media for years. And honestly, he's right. What is the value of a view? What is the value of a like? You can't put that in the bank. You can't pay bills with that. And there are whole social media companies that will present their results to a client, social media management companies that will present their results to a client, and they'll say, look at the engagement that you got this quarter. Look at how this is, look at how this account has grown. But if you can't directly trace the engagement on a piece of content to the bottom line, to dollars in the bank, then there's a disconnect with the business. And I think that now that engagement overall across the platform is turned down, it's always been true, and now it's more true than ever. And so now it's about really remembering to speak to the right person. So I'll put up a post and it'll get like 40 likes. And it would be more important for me to look at those 40 likes and say, are these the exact right 40 people that I want to hear this? And is this message targeted? It's much more about targeting than about general growth now. And if you really think about it, like even in this room I'm in, I couldn't fit, it would be hard. I couldn't fit 40 people in this room. And if all these 40 people were customers, for instance, we sell books, we publish books at New Wave Press. So if all 40 people in this room were authors of ours and we'd sold them a package to publish their books, and each package is $50,000 to $100,000, 40 customers right now is actually more than we can handle. We can't handle 40 new authors right now. And that puts things in perspective, because if everyone you're talking to is the exact right fit for your ideal client profile, then you don't actually need that much engagement on the post. You don't actually need that much virality on a post. You don't need virality at all. And I would argue that virality on a post can actually tank your account. I know this because at the end of 2024 through the middle of 2025, it would have been like October 2024 through about June 2025. I was testing viral strategies on my account. And basically I was reposting existing memes with then some commentary from myself in a Twitter style post on my page. And I was getting a few 100 million views per month on Instagram and Facebook as well. And I actually think that hurt my account significantly, because it was bringing all the wrong types of people to the account who just came for the free food, essentially, who just were shopping for the free samples, essentially. And those weren't at all the types of people that I wanted to attract. My mindset was, well, if I can attract millions of people, some of those people will be the right fit. But what I found is that that doesn't have to be the case. There can actually be millions of people and they're all the wrong fit, or they look at your account and they don't actually realize that what you have on your page besides the viral content is useful to them, and they don't even see it. So I was forced to dial back that strategy, to actually kill that strategy entirely and focus just on posting what I wanted my exact ideal customer to hear. And so now the reach has been completely taken back. And I think that we all need to experience that. We all need to experience the fact that as social media changes, the metrics are going to change in terms of what we're able to, the reach we're able to access on our accounts. Because over time, social media the platforms gradually atrophy. As they atrophy, then they need to introduce more paid solutions to get the same reach with paid traffic that you would have gotten before with organic traffic. I think there's a deeper conversation to be had here, but if you look across Facebook, Instagram, TikTok to a certain extent, you see that's the case. And then it's interesting too, even though this isn't a social media platform, even ChatGPT was testing putting out paid ads because they couldn't quite get the right amount of people to pay for the platform. And no, so it's not the same thing as social media losing reach, but the idea of running ads on a platform is always in response to the platform not performing, essentially. I mean, the I remember when Instagram first brought ads onto the platform, and I remember that I knew there was only a few years before the platform itself deteriorated in quality, and I think we can find that's true now. Now we could talk about the overall sentiment of people in general on social media and the fact that we're burned out and the fact that we don't really want to be on these platforms, but we are because they're part of our world now. I think you and I can both agree that I don't even find being on social media an enjoyable experience. I mean, I know you're watching me on YouTube right now, but generally speaking, I don't find being on YouTube an enjoyable experience. Or YouTube maybe, but certainly not any meta platform. I don't really enjoy being on the meta platforms, but they become such an integral part of our lives that we kind of have to be on them. It's like saying, well, I don't enjoy going to the airport or the gas station, but they're like these transit areas, these non-places that I have to go to just to be able to get to where I'm really going. And that's what Instagram and Facebook and other platforms like that have become. They've become these like non-places where we have to use them, or we feel like we have to use them to interact with the world, to either get our news, to talk to our friends, to express ourselves. They become these interstitial parts of our lives, but I don't think many of us enjoy being on them. And of course, they're gamified and monetized in a way that keeps us coming back. But none of us can say that it's an enjoyable part of our lives. And so now, as a business owner, knowing that the reach on these platforms has been turned down, it's really incumbent upon us to focus more on the message that we want the right person to hear. I'll leave you with this. When I was first starting my journey as a content creator online, it was in the blog space, and I really enjoyed the blog era on the internet because people actually read. I mean, I would have a blog, and my blog was Rich 20 something, and I would get dozens or hundreds of comments on articles that I would write, and they were genuine, thought-provoking comments from people who enjoyed the material and wanted to have a conversation with myself and with each other. And it was really great because that was the era of almost personal social media. If you had a blog, that was your personal social media site, and people came onto that site because they wanted to interact with your material, not because they were stuck on some sort of like electronic shopping mall where you would interrupt them with your content, but that they came directly to your website to interact and engage with your stuff. Totally different era now. I mean, yes, you can have your own website, but people don't behave the same on the internet anymore. And during this time, I started to write articles that were starting to do well online. And I had one article that went super viral, at that time, super viral. And I emailed Seth Godin. Seth Godin's a really well-known marketer. Seth Godin is basically the creator of email opt-ins. He's the creator of what's called permission marketing. You opt in, you get something free back, the marketer or the business gets your email address. He basically invented or he popularized that concept. And I wrote to him and I said, Seth, this was such a great experience for me. Oh, I love going viral. How do I make another article go viral? And he told me, he said, don't try to make an article go viral. Try to write something that's so meaningful and that's speaking to one person so clearly that they can't go to sleep tonight without telling at least one other person, and focus on that. And that really stuck with me. And over the years, I think sometimes I got away from that, but now I'm coming back to that and I'm seeing, oh, that's what it's always been about. And so as the social media world turns and we kind of like complete this cycle, which I think the social media era is kind of now dead, and we're moving into the AI era, whatever that will be called in the future, the slop era. it's more important now than ever to write for that one person, to imagine who that one person is, to write or to make content for them, and allow that to do the work in the world rather than try to game the algorithms and try to create the content that's going to get the most reach or be the most viral. Write for the person that you most want to impact and affect, and allow that sharp and specific content to reach them so that they can tell people who are like them and hopefully like you. And that is how, and that doesn't mean that might mean that you might get, much lower reach, engagement, likes, shares, comments, but it's not really about that anymore. The metric should be more about trust, vulnerability, authenticity, and specificity. And if you can harness those elements, then that's what's actually going to result in money in your bank account. If it's a business that you're doing online. So focus on that, and it won't matter whether Instagram dies. And yeah, I'll post a clip of this on IG, and that's just the way it is. So hope you enjoyed that. If you want help building your business, you know what to do. Hit me in the description box. There's a link. We can also write your book with you. That's also in the description box below. And of course, in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.